What is good? What is going on, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of CSGO News, our third video in a row on the MiBR topic. We have updates on that, some stupid things I did on Twitter. We're talking about Heretics rejoining CSGO, some French things, and some other things as well. All timestamped down below if you guys want to bounce around. Welcome back, all of you commenters out there. We have received hundreds of comments on our last couple of videos, and I really do appreciate you guys for that. The discussion back and forth has been immense, and it continues around the MiBR topic. So let's hop into it. Why don't we? We have updates for all of you based off Fur's last stream. A lot has come out about the future of MiBR without Coldzera. So I'll play some clips on screen for all of you, as well as link some down below in case you guys do want to actually kind of see his entire stream highlights about what he talked about the issue. But a quick TLDR for all of you has now been finalized about the future of MiBR without Coldzera, and it has been finalized. According to Fur himself, Cold is gone. No matter what at all, he will not play with the team for the major or after the major. And also a very key point as well, because we talked about this yesterday. If you guys don't trust me, again, I will link the full video of his stream clips down below with English subtitles. He talked about Zews. Now, apparently, according to the team and Fur, they think they can use Zeus, which does make sense. If you guys were here for yesterday's episode, I was very confused by the current ruling out there, and some sources saying that apparently, because it was not an emergency transfer of Coldzera benching himself, they could not even use Zeus to replace him on the roster for the major. It did not quite add up if we brought up the Smooya point. If you guys were here yesterday's episode, you already know, so I do apologize. It was Smooya for the Katowice major. He benched himself far closer to the major than this for Coldzera did. Within a couple of weeks, it was Smooya benching himself. They had Nex in the coaching role, and Nex was able to replace him on the roster. So it would make no sense for that case to be okay. And then in this case for MiBR, they couldn't even use their coach, and they would be forced to use Coldzera. So it did not quite add up. So as of right now, according to MiBR and Fur, they do think they can use Zeus, and they will for the major. It was their choice. Coldzera came to them, and they said, no, we don't even want you for the major. He will be playing 2 more tournaments, Blast Pro LA, as well as IEM Chicago, and the team apparently did not want him to play for the major, which is nuts. And a very last point, not really too crucial here, they will not be going to an international roster. The next member to replace Coldzera will also be Brazilian. I don't think it's going to be a huge surprise for you guys to hear that, but it does attune to rumors out there potentially of Henny rejoining his brother Lucas on the MiBR roster. Myself, I would love to see KNG on a top tier Brazilian roster. Let's see if that guy can come back a little less angry and prove himself yet again. But either way, with all of this being said, still a crazy instance. It does seem we know a lot more clarification on the details of why this is happening, although we still do not have confirmation as to exactly what's going to happen for MiBR's roster for the major. It does seem very likely Zeus will play for them, and if you are a Brazilian fan, I'm very curious. If you guys are watching this, are an MiBR fan, what do you guys want to have happen? Would you guys rather play with Zeus, or would you, I think in my opinion, would you rather hear the fact that because this emergency transfer does not qualify them to play with Zeus, they are forced to play with Coldzera? If I was a diehard fan, I think I'd almost rather have them have Coldzera, even if the morale is bad, even if the internal struggles are very bad as well. It does still leave room for a possible better result, and even if they do well, maybe he's not staying. Obviously, Cold said he's guaranteed not staying, but if I was a diehard fan, I would much rather have Cold than a Zeus. But what do you guys want as diehard fans? Either way, a confusing case, and those are all the details we know as of right now. Oh, and for anyone with high hopes on, of course, our next 2 events, MiBR's next 2 events being Blast Pro LA as well as IEM Chicago. If you were high hopes for that, last night they were scrimming or doing FPL matches. They were doing it with Zeus and not Coldzera, so that's where they're currently at in this roster. I would not have high hopes on their finishes at those events, and keep that in mind. But another big roster out there, this time in the European scene, who is making some great changes. That is Team Windigo, guys, and they're adding Calyx. Amongst others, it's actually going to be Victor and Blocker to be benched on that as well, and it's going to be Hadji alongside Calyx. Hadji, to me, was a whirlwind of a pickup here. I'm still happy about it because I think some changes were needed, especially after taking WESG. Windigo has they've kind of lingered around. You know, for the European minor, they were one of my upset teams. They failed to actually make the major, and so in doing so, they are changing their roster, and Calyx is one of the only remaining, if the only remaining ex-Space Soldier member, I would say, who had a lot of talent, as Xantares was the first to leave over to Big Clan. I think he was the first, and then Major followed soon after as well. They were probably your 2 key candidates as well, alongside Calyx. When he is in peak form, this guy is very dangerous, and he was one of the many free agents out there in CSGO that I thought kind of the long list of the free agents out there that should be picked up, and he has now been so alongside Hadji for this brand new Windigo roster. It's great to see a team who has failed to make consecutive majors now, but have made pretty decent runs inside the European minors, and and has still been a pretty consistent team actually making these changes, especially because when you consider Victor is one of the oldest Bulgarian members for this team, as well as in history of Bulgaria. He's one of the older members in the scene there. So to replace him, they must feel very confident that alongside Calyx and Poison, if both those guys can go off, and I do believe this, and especially if Hadji can do his thing, this roster is looking very dangerous, and I'm glad they're making changes. You now have two key powerful players in the EU scene for a team Windigo who was going to be sold off a while ago, but they seem to be sticking it out now with a brand new roster who on paper looks very, very nice. And then this next story, Magic Johnson a couple days ago took to Twitter to announce the congratulations to Team Liquid about ESL Cologne, their victory of both the Grand Slam, I think I said Grand Prix last time, as well as, of course, their victory over Vitality at ESL Cologne. So congratulations to them. If you guys don't know, I believe Magic Johnson's actually an investor in a Team Liquid, and that's why he sent that tweet out. But that's not the key point here. We did hear about Blast Pro LA having some bad ticket sales. We had a whole video about that, the whole kind of controversy around that. When they first sent out tickets at a very cheap and relatively pretty good price for the weekend, they refunded all the buyers and they raised the ticket prices quite a bit, and they are now having ticket sale problems for Blast Pro LA and a much smaller venue on top of that. So they took this time for Magic Johnson's tweet to reply to that and desperately try and sell some more Blast Pro tickets. I don't know why I'm mentioning this. I kind of just thought it was funny when I saw on my timeline Blast Pro replying to Magic Johnson for some reason, really trying to sell those tickets. And very lastly, for all of you in CSGO News, I should not be tired. I really do apologize because this last story is one I am excited about. I have not had my coffee this morning, and so that's why I'm really struggling. But it's going to be Heretics rejoining the CSGO scene for the first time, I believe, in about 2 years, and with a non-Spaniard roster. Going to be the former French Frogs roster with David P. and the boys, and I could not be happier for this team. If you guys do not recognize that French Frogs name, they are the former ex-3D Max guys. They were let go from 3D Max when they currently had an ESL Pro League spot due to lack of funding, and it was a terrible time because at that time it was really 4 French teams. I believe Vitality was maybe on the come up, even if then they were a brand new roster, or even it's gonna kind of shimmer my timeline a bit here. I believe it was about to be Vitality. It was also G2 though in contention for a pretty good French roster at the time. LDLC and 3D Max was right there with them. They were probably neck and neck between the second and fourth team in French scene, and they were definitely a team with an ESL Pro League spot looking quite confident, and all of a sudden, pretty much out of nowhere, David P. and the guys were cut, I believe, without even being told really beforehand, and so they are now back officially with an organization. Keep in mind as well, Heretics is actually more well known for their Rainbow Six Siege as well as their Call of Duty teams, so now back in CSGO officially with a team that I am very high hopes on, hopefully for the future, if they can actually regain a former bit of themselves. And with that being said, they are in the relegation playoff for a spot in the next season of Pro League, so they could possibly retain their spot, which would probably be a huge thing for them and their future with Heretics. But it's a really cool name, a really cool organization to have back in CSGO, and I could not name a more well-deserving French roster out there as well to get it. And with all that, I hope you guys enjoy. I might see you guys back here tomorrow. I am taking tomorrow off though, so if I can try and pre-record an episode, you guys will see me tomorrow. If not, you will of course see me back here Monday. I do have a few pre-recorded episodes about general esports news for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, but if you guys want to stop back for CSGO only, I'm not offended by that. So I'll see you back here Monday breaking down CSGO news as per usual. A huge thanks to all of you guys for a great, solid, stunning week. Although I did say some very stupid things on Twitter, I made sure to mention the American minor. There's a lot of Brazilian teams in the American minor, so stupid 6 a.m. Jake tweets the American minor, and I do realize that South America is a part of the Americans. I'm really stupid, and if you guys couldn't tell that by now, then you're definitely new to the channel. But if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jake, and I'll see you guys back here Monday. All right, I'm gonna go drink coffee. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you guys again, this is way too long of an outro. Bye.